I'll try to do this a little bit slower, being you've never used Inkscape before, and I'll show you a couple of different things that I would do. So if you were just generally wanting to remove a background on something and it's a solid color like that, I would use GIMP. You can also use Inkscape. It really depends on the image that you're doing. If it's a more detailed like photograph or something, you'd want to use GIMP because Inkscape's going to vectorize it. So it's going to break each of those different color gradients into different sections, and it's going to create harsh lines between like where there would be shading. So for example, let's just pull your fish file in here. I downloaded it, and I'm just going to show you, like, if I just wanted to remove this black background in GIMP, this is how I would do it. First, I would go up here to Tools, select, go to a rectangle tool. I would crop it down as close to my design size as possible. And then just hit Image, crop the selection. Now you have a much smaller image to work with. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So okay, so this image is going to need to be cleaned up anyway, so this I would use Inkscape to do, because I would vectorize it so that it's nice and clear, because if you were to try and blow this up at all, it's going to be really pixelated. So anyways, this is just showing you how to remove the background. So once you've done that, cropped it down, you want to go here to Layer, and you want to go to Transparency, and you want to add an alpha channel. Some images you'll get, this is grayed out. That means that the alpha channel's already been removed, so you can skip this step and just go on to the next. So you just hit Add Alpha Channel, that's it. And go back over here to Tools, select, and you have an option. You can use the fuzzy select, you can use the color select. There's many different ways depending on what you're trying to remove. So like if I were trying to remove all the black from this image, I would use color select and remove it all. Fuzzy select removes anything that's touching, which in this case, all the black is touching. There's nothing like really breaking it. So I'm going to show you. You would just click on the area you want to delete and then hit delete on your keyboard. It removes all that. See, this was separated, so these pieces did not remove. Now you can hit edit, undo. Now if I went here to Tools, select, and did by color, clicked on the black, now that's going to remove all the black. Now you'll see that there is some other random dark colors in here too, so if you wanted to clean those up as well, you just click on one of those and it'll grab anything that's that color and it'll pull that out of the picture, and you can just keep doing that until you've removed all the traces of colors that you don't want on the image. So see, like if I were to click on the green, it's going to remove everything that's that shade of green. Control Z undoes your last command, or edit, undo. So that's what I would do there. But for this image, being that it's white and it does need cleaning up, I would go straight to Inkscape. So let me jump over here to Inkscape and just open up. You're just going to open up File, New. And this is Inkscape. All your basic sizing and orientation stuff is up here. This is all your editing tools. And these are all your like sub-editing tools, like for layers, text, anything like specific. These commands here, they'll snap the designs edge to edge. So like if you have a square box and you want another square box butted up against it, you would enable this. So on mine, this is enabled. So for example, if I had a square box here and Control D duplicates it, or you can edit, duplicate, And from there, I now have another box. So I want this box to be right there. As long as this is enabled, that's what'll happen. It'll snap right to it. No matter what side I bring it to, it's going to line me right up. If I disable this, then I can freely move this however I want. So just showing you, like, if you're working with something and you can't figure out why it keeps snapping, just undo that while you're working on that. So up here, File, go to Document Properties. This is how you would set up your page. I do mine an inch, and I use the custom size because most of the time when I print on 13 by 19 paper. So if I'm working with something that I'm cutting in silhouette, I'll use the mat size. So if it's a 12 by 12 mat, I'll make this 12 by 12. If it's 12 by 24, 12 by 24. With Cricut, there's another adjustment you'll have to do once you've actually made the file. You'll have to go in and do some editing within the registry of the file in order to get it to open up properly in Cricut. So we're just going to set this to 13 by 19 because that's what I'm working with. You just change that. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Just exit out of there. You now have a document. Oh, actually, no. If you're doing this for sublimation, you also want to come over here and you want to make sure that you're using Adobe RGB. That's the color profile that you always want to be working in. Sub inks are made so that they convert at the printer level to the CMYK colors. So you want your designs and your printing and everything to be RGB. So now we've got that set up. So I would go up here, File, I would import your photo right here. And for this to zoom in, it's literally just the plus and minus buttons. You don't have to hold Control or anything. So we have this selected. From here, I would go to Path, and I would go to Trace Bitmap. It's going to open up a window over here. I'm going to turn on Live Preview. So right now, it sees this just as it is with the white parts knocked out. Well, we're going to have a hard time detecting this white because this is only going to pick up the darker colors. So we want to invert this image. Now, when it's inverted, you'll bring your numbers down to make it show up more. When it's not inverted, you'll increase the number to make it show up more. And the idea is you want to have as much of it lit up over here. It doesn't have to be perfectly solid like the outdoors and all that, because it will trace. It's just up here. It just doesn't display well. So I did a click. I clicked OK. So now we can close this window. Now you'll just go here. You'll drag that off. We now have a clean image. Now here's where it gets tricky. I like to make a duplicate. So Control D makes a duplicate. Bring one off to the side. That way you have something to reference while working. So now we're going to click on one. We're going to go up here to Path, and we're going to break this apart. Notice it takes out all the little white sections and everything. That's because it has completely broken apart all the layers of everything that are used to create this design. So from there, these are now all separate pieces. So we're going to clean this up, remove any stray pieces. Now we'll start by coming in here, and you want to create a difference with all these so that they look like this again. So we're going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can kind of see. It's good to have a reference like this so you can kind of see where the pieces are at. What I like to do is I like to start like little by little. So there's two pieces selected there. I just dragged a little box over them. And you want to make sure not to get any other pieces than what you're working with at that point. So from there, you path, and you would union those together. So now these are locked together on one layer. Now we would go here because there's a couple here, and we would path union. Same thing on the tail, this one piece. We would now take that, hold down the shift key, click on the other two that you just created, path union. Now what's going to happen is this black piece is all one piece. So if we were to click on what we just unioned, and we hold the shift key, and we click on this black piece, we can now hit path and create a difference, and it knocks those sections out. So now we would go to the next area here. This is all one piece. That's the only one in there. So we would just select, shift, select the second one, path, difference. Same thing here. There's one here. It's the only one in that section. Shift, select the second, path, difference. Same one in here. Select. Oh, there's two. So we will path, we will union those, and then we will select the bigger one, path, difference. So now we have all the cutouts, everything, just like the fish over here. Then we'll do the same thing with our letters. We have the inside of the R. We have, I'm just going to hold shift while I do this, and I click on each section that I'm adding. There's the inside of the E's. Next inside of the E's, there should be another little piece right there in the R's. We're going to path union those. Now all these are connected, so that's one piece. Hold shift, click on what you just made, path, difference. Same thing over here. P. Since this is one piece, the M and the P, we're just going to grab that, select, path, union, and then select the whole thing, path, come on, path, and difference. Then same thing with the A. You might have to click around some to find them. Hold shift again, pick the inside of the C, path, union. Hold shift, click the back piece, path, difference. So now that we've done that, we want this all to be like one solid piece. So we're just going to select the whole thing together. We're going to path, union. Now this is all one locked design. It can't be separated. We're not going to do that up here because you want to be able to change colors. Oh, actually, I don't want to separate these. Let me undo that. So we would just do oh, I'm on the wrong one. So we would just do real by itself. That one, path, union. Impact by itself, path, union. Once you union something with something else, if you change the color of one, it changes the color of all. So that's how we're going to keep these separate. Now we're going to do the same thing with outdoors. Whoops. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. We're going to grab the O inside, hold shift, the inside of the D, the inside of the O, the other O, and the R. You're going to path, union. Now for this, personally, I would retype this text itself right here because it's a little wonky. But just giving you an idea. Now for this, you could individually click on each letter and then group them together, or you can just select the whole thing like this. Then hold shift, deselect the parts that you just union, the insides. So now we just have the outlines of the letters selected. Go up here, path, union. Now we've made that all one piece. So now we can come back in and it's going to grab both pieces and we can do the path difference. So now we have the full design. So now we want to change colors. I'm going to move this just a little bit closer this way so I can drag and drop colors. So we want this here to be this green. So we would grab the dropper tool here and we would just select the green. We want this here. I'm going to leave this black. You can change it white, whatever, but same thing. Dropper tool, select white, or just click on it and select white. And then same with the body. We want this section here to be green. We want that to match. So we would just dropper tool, match that section. Being these two are also green, I would grab that, hold shift, select the other, and then I would turn them both green at the same time. Then since they're still selected, we'll go back up here to the selection tool. I would hold shift and I would select the other green piece, go up here to path and union them. So now I have a solid black line. Now, say you wanted this to be white, but you wanted it to have a black outline. You could take and click on this. You could turn it white. Now to create an outline, you can either go here to fill and stroke, and you can turn on the stroke, which creates an outline. Stroke style allows you to adjust the thickness of it. And here's where you would choose the color. But what I find easier to do, let me back where it's just white, is after I've changed it white, if you just hold down the shift key and select whatever color you want your outline to be. So say we wanted the body to be outlined in green. I would just select green. If you're holding shift, that controls the outline. If you're not holding shift, that controls the fill. So let me back up out of that. So we're going to make that outline black. We're going to do the same thing here. Hold shift, black, but we don't want any fill here. So we're not going to hold anything. We're just going to click on this off and we're going to turn the fill off. Instead of making it white, we're going to actually make it transparent. Now, if you were going to use this on something, then you would turn it white just so you could overlay it on something. And then this little piece here, we'll just turn that white for now, like the rest. Hold shift, hit black, creates the stroke. So now we have all this, which we can choose each of these sections, hold shift, select, and create a path and union. Now all this is one piece. Edit, undo. I'm gonna, this little piece here, green, and then we're gonna select with that, and we're gonna union that to that. So this is all one piece now, and this is all one piece. If it does that and the image like suddenly disappears like that, it's just a zoom issue. Just zoom out a little bit and zoom back in, it pops back up. It's still there. It just, I don't know why it disappears from the display. So that's how you would do that. Now this image here, he's white, so I can layer him on top of something and he looks just like the picture below. But I'm gonna hit Control and I'm gonna hit G. That groups this together. It doesn't lock it, it just groups it so I can move it around. So you can see here the difference in quality. This is your original image, which is distorted and pixelated. This is a vector image. So this will cut nice and clean, or you can blow that up. You can blow this up to wall size for sublimation and it's never going to distort. So what you would want to do to use this properly is, let me move this back over with the actual design. Undo, undo. So now it's all back over here together. So we'll just, let's do the same thing to impact. And we'll create that white, hold shift, add the stroke. So something like that. I'll do 2 copies of this. So Control D duplicates it. And just drag the other right off the top. So this one I can take and just turn these sections black. And turn the stroke off because we don't need the extra thickness. So let me group that. Now we've got this one solid design that can be moved around, and I'm going to show you what they look like when you take them into cutting software and group. So we can now delete this one because we no longer need to reference it, and we can delete this because we don't need that either. Now we have 2 SVGs. Now up here is your size. This is inches. Right now it's 0.68 inches. So if you were to take that image you had, it wasn't even an inch tall. So the second you tried blowing that up, it would distort really, really bad. So this, let's just blow it up to, you want to lock the aspect here so that when you change the width, the height changes too. Go up here, I'm just going to make it 5 inches. And we're going to zoom out with the minus key. We're going to do the same thing to this one, make it 5 inches. Just hit tab and it'll change the next. So we have 2 images here. If you wanted just to print this, so like this image here, you just want to make a printable PNG of say you want it 12 inches to put on a shirt. That's 12 inches. See, still nice and clear. You can take that, you go over here to export. You want to make sure that selection is chosen. That will choose whatever's in your box. And you want to change this DPI here to at least 300. I usually do 300 to 600 depending on what I'm working on, but 600 is a huge file. 300's it's good for size, file size wise. So once you change this to 300, this is selected. You want to click here on, always when I'm trying to show something, you want to click on export as. It'll open up window. What I usually do with all my files is I save them on the desktop until I'm done working with them. So this, I would put REEL impact outdoors. I would create a folder. And within that folder, I would create real impact full color and make sure that this is PNG. That'll maintain the transparent background. If you save it as anything else, it's going to automatically put a solid background behind there, white or whatever. So if you were to try to layer that on top of something else to make like a mock-up or anything, you'd have a big white box. This way, you don't, as long as you vectorized it like this and there is no background. So we would save. Same thing with this one. I'm going to export. It's already in the folder. We would just go here and just say outlines and save. What you want to do though, after you create, oops, yeah, I forgot to actually export it. So real impact, full color. We went back to this one, PNG, save. After you hit save there, it doesn't save the file. You have to come back over here and hit export. Okay, how many times I forget to do that, and then I go looking for my file and it's not there. It's because I didn't save it. So same thing with this, export. Selection is chosen, it's 300 DPI. Then this one, we're just going to change full color to outlines, save, and export. Now you'll notice here, when it's saved, that you can't see the picture. That's because that's a transparent background, and anything that's white on it, it just, everything blends together. But when it opens, it'll be transparent. The color of the fish will be there and everything. I don't know why sometimes some of them show up fine. The others show up like that. but they are both transparent background. So I'm going to close that. So now what I would do is from this, I would want to create an actual SVG file. Let me resize this back down before I do that. As long as you keep like your original SVG file, you can resize it over and over and over again. So I always export here if I'm making a copy to print that I need to be a different size, so I never mess up my original. So with that, I would just hit File, Save As. I would go back into my folder, and I would Real Impact, Original Vector. So I know not to mess with that file. That's my original. So make sure it says that it's just a plain SVG. And you're just going to hit Save. And that's it. Now we have an SVG file. But what I want to do is I want to create a separate SVG for each of these so I can show you how they open. So being I already named it as original vector, I'm going to delete this full color one, leaving just that one there. But File, Save As. We're going to just go here at the end. I like to do underscores and outline only. Save. You don't have to do anything else once you hit save there. So then I would go edit, undo, delete, bring back the other. You might have to do it twice. Bring back the other, delete the first, slide this one up. Same thing, File, Save As. Change the outline only to full color and save. So now we have two. I'll show you what's in the folder. So now in the folder we have the full color PNG. We have now see it changed colors. Then we have the one with the outlines PNG. Then we have the original vector. We have the full color vector, and we have the outline only vector. A lot of times I'll also save a PDF. So I'll go through here. I'll save a PDF of it. I'll save an EPS, and I'll save a DXF because I sell files, so different people need different file types. So from that, if you want to use these files in Cricut, there's another step you have to do, which that's what I'm going to show you right now. So you go into the computer's search, and what you want to do is you want to find the notepad. Open the notepad app. I'm going to go here, File, Open. You need to change this to All, and then go to where your files are at. And that's the original vector. So we want to do the full color one right here. We're going to open. And here where it says width and height, you want to come in here and you want to just change that to say 1000 px on both of them. I don't know why. It's a glitch within Cricut software as far as importing SVGs go. Once you've changed both of those, just click here, File, Save. So do the same thing, File, Open, go to the other one, All Files, Outline Only, Open, same, 1000 px, 1000 px, and File, Save. Okay, go ahead and close that. You can minimize that. Close, 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 close. I always have a lot going on. So we're going to start with Silhouette Studio first. I guess I can open Cricut too while that's going. So I got Silhouette already open down here. So from there, I will go here. I want to open. And I have the designer, I mean the business edition, so I can open up SVGs directly. If you don't, then you would import the PNG to find it. But I'm assuming you know how to use both machines as far as that goes. But I'm just going to show you what the files look like once they've been opened, so you can actually see. So the full color one, we'll just open. I'm only going to do one of them. So right there. Over here, let's just resize it a little bit so it's bigger. Oops, I always forget to select it. It's 50%. We're just gonna make this about 6 inches and apply. So we got that there. And when you click on send, those are our cut lines. So everything will cut just like that. All one piece, all one section, next color. So you can move them around from here. You just go up here, object, ungroup it, and then the grouped sections can be moved around. You can't ungroup these at all, so you can't mess with these because you union them over in Inkscape. So they're permanent. So now let me open the same file up in Cricut. Upload, browse, desktop. And we're gonna do the one that's full color, so you can see both of them. There's the file, save, insert, and there's our file. So we're gonna go up here. We're just gonna increase the size of that one too. Right there. There's our pieces. So if we went up to make it, we now have, there's all our black layer, and there's all our green layer, and that's it. So hopefully that kind of shows you how to take an image, vectorize it, remove the backgrounds, clean it up, whatever. So if that didn't have a white background, you would do it the opposite way in Inkscape, or just like I said, if it's a solid background and the image has nice bold colors, you can just remove the background, bring it over if it doesn't need to be enlarged or cleaned up in any way. So hopefully that helps and gets you going. And I'll put up some more videos like this too soon.